welcome back to 709 Meridian, an audio commentary podcast. We are your hosts, Dee and Andrew,
Hello.
and we're back with the second half of our recent entry of the Summer of Duologies. Here is 1989 summer classic Ghostbusters 2.
We were just talking about 1989 as the summer of sequels, and we were trying to think of
Yeah,
all the sequels. And
there were a
Ghostbusters
lot.
Ghostbusters actually made it into the top 10.
Uh-huh.
Now, we're actually going to go through the summer because I think we need to contextualize. There has not been a year like there's this infamous 1939 is like the primo old Hollywood year.
Yeah.
There's a problem with that because Gone with the Wind's in there, but we can talk. That's not our podcast. But
No.
there's a bunch of and Gunga Din's in there too, right? Like so,
Yep.
right. So I mean, there are things on a range, but there's also just a bunch of really good stuff too. 1989, very similarly, is kind of the year that the idea of blockbusters
Yeah, franchises.
consumed the world, or the idea of potential franchises. We hadn't really gotten into the 90s yet, so nobody knew what they were going to be like. But here's what we've got: May 5 to September 4. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo. Number one, Batman. Number two, Indiana Jones 3. Number three, Lethal Weapon 2.
Weapon 2.
Number four, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Number five,
That was
Ghostbusters.
a surprise hit.
Yep, that was a surprise hit because that was that sweet spot where Disney was finally able to appeal to sort of the tween boy audience.
Yeah.
And like, we didn't call it that, and tween is a little bit of a weird term, but that this is the 11 to 13. Once
It's
it
a weird
became
spot.
clear those kids were going to go see movies without parents in
Yeah.
the
And
80s.
Disney,
Yeah.
after Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Disney was all in. It started kind of with Roger Rabbit,
Yeah.
and
But
then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids dropped, and it was like, yeah, this is where the parents could just drop their
drop
kids
their
off.
kids off. And they fucked it up with the second one of those, which I still don't know if I've seen.
Blew up the kid.
Blew up the baby or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been trying this since Black Hole, right? Like they just never could figure out the formula. Tron. And
Right.
their eventual solution to this was to buy Star Wars. The problem with that is it came with a bunch of 45-year-old bros.
Yep.
Okay, so except they're older now. We're on the young end of that. Thank
Oh
God. Though not the
Yeah.
youngest, sadly, because then you have your prequel apologist. But anyway, so then all of those movies I just mentioned made over 100 million. So Ghostbusters 2 made 110 million in the summer. That was pretty good, right? Like the next thing was Dead Poets at 85, When Harry
Look.
Met Sally at 65, Parenthood, Field of Dreams. We're now dropping into the non-blockbuster territory. But
Remember when that shit was like the hit movies, though?
yeah, we used to have two tiers. Now we have blockbusters and we have hits. Or we used to have blockbusters and hits. And everything became a blockbuster. But for a long time, there were just like cool hits and uncool hits. Dead Poet
Back in like
Society
48
is
hours
still not
and Trading
48
Places.
hours. That shit was a hit. You were limited in how big of a hit you could be. Well, also because I'm just looking at it because the amount of theaters you played in, right? Like Batman and Indiana Jones played in over 2,200 theaters. Ghostbusters 2 takes the cake at 2,400. But something like
Yeah.
Dead Poets and Harry Met Sally, that's 1,100 theaters. So this is the other thing with scarcity back then. You could make things hits by leaving them in the theater longer and putting them in certain places. So like Parenthood was a hit because you basically just got middle and upper middle class white people to watch it. And that was its target audience. And they fell in love with Steve Martin. Field of Dreams had a bit more like universal appeal, but it was still pretty white. And Field of Dreams 1100 you play in the flyover states in 1989, you're playing at one megaplex per county, basically. Then there was Star Trek V, which was an infamous bomb at 52 million. Karate Kid 3, License to Kill. Now we're into the underperformers, right? Those are all
Yeah.
three of those are considered bombs.
Huh.
We've got Friday the
Okay,
13th Dream, or no, Friday the 13th
dude,
Jason Takes Manhattan.
hold on.
Okay.
That shit was scary, man.
All right, I'll turn it off.
That shit was scary, dude.
Hold on. Wait, was
You know
that
what?
scary?
Just watch it, right?
Was it as scary as?
Ah!
All right, I'll turn off.
Now you look like you're in the Rock with You video.
Okay. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday 13th. Neither of those did very well, but okay, so Friday the 13th made 15-ish million. Nightmare on Elm Street made like 18. Those were the bombs that led to like Jason dying off, right, from Paramount, and
Yeah,
them
and New Line
deciding
picked
to
it up.
wrap up Freddy. Like, they basically just needed to make another 5 million and they would have been fine.
Yeah.
But shit like that didn't happen back then. It's so weird. Okay, so then let's see. Fright Night 2 was a big bomb. Listen to our Fright Night 2 episode. Very good. Also, movie's very good. Also, the reason Fright Night 2 bombed was because of distribution problems.
Yeah,
Not
it
like
didn't get out.
Yeah, it got an incomplete. We can't actually say that it went wrong like that. House
Big
3,
video hit though.
when it finally got there, yeah. House
Yeah, when it
3
finally got
also came out. Eddie and the Cruisers 2,
Eddie Lives.
Eddie Lives. We should do those. I've never seen those. I hear they're terrible.
The first
And
one's all right.
the first one's all right. All right.
First one's all right.
And because the second one just takes place in Canada. They just embrace
Yeah, the second
that
one's
shit.
just like we got this title.
We just are in Toronto, bitches.
We're in Toronto.
But what wasn't on that list? What did I see in the theater? That name of that fucking Chicagoland theater that closed in the early 90s with the beautiful interiors, and I wish I remember. Was it? No, that was the one we went to. That was that big one. No. There was another one on the north side where I saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was a second run, but also had weird stuff. But it
400?
No, wasn't the 400.
No.
Nope. I'll find it someday.
Adelphi.
Wasn't the Adelphi. Adelphi stayed open.
Screen.
And it stayed open. This wasn't like, I don't think the screen was good, but the lobby was like the classical lobby. Return of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been the Granada, because Granada was long closed by.
I think I would remember the name Granada. I feel like it has an L in it. I'll find it someday. There was a period where the Chicago Tribune had
Lincolnwood? Not the Lincolnwood.
No, not the Lincolnwood. No. Shit. Okay. All of this is to say that Ghostbusters 2 came out in a very packed thing. It was Bill Murray's sort of return to the movies. He hadn't really been in much since Razor's Edge bombed. He did Scrooge. That was his first comeback. He sort of let himself become a video hit.
He was a special guest star in Little Shop of Horrors.
That's right. And Little Shop was really, that helped him too, because that also was a video hit as well. So like, he really, getting back out there, he did a good job with it. And you know, that's why we have the Bill Murray we have today. Like, but he didn't like jump on a fucking couch or something. He just got pissy when his movie didn't do well. He just had a nice comeback. But at this point, Dan Aykroyd had already Dan Aykroyd was he shouldn't have been fizzling, because Dragnet was 87. No. But the problem is Dan Aykroyd made like 4 movies a year. And if you were lucky,
they refused to go away, and they were hit or miss. One of them
was good. And otherwise, they were shitty. Like, Dan Aykroyd made some shitty movies. And
they just didn't get him. Like,
and he had some there's like and this is, you know, there's this comedy movement of the 80s, this sort of look at Joe versus the Volcano, a bunch of the SCTV stuff. there's a bunch of this
Yeah.
stuff that has sort of gotten forgotten in time and sort of written off as like a Eugene Levy artistic endeavor. Um,
Right. And
but
then
this
there was the
is
resurgence of John Candy got big
right.
in the 80s.
John Candy was big, but John
He was the
Candy,
breakout of those guys.
yeah, he was the breakout because he just made like he made more accessible movies. Like these
Yeah.
other guys, they over directed things like that.
And it was like character vehicles for them. Like
Yeah,
fucking
it was really
Dan Aykroyd.
weird.
I love Dr. Detroit, but that shit was just like
Yes, you were like selling yourself as a personality, except not on a TV show, right? Like you were just you
right.
sold yourself, and this is what things used to be like. And I thought we would get back there more with streaming, and we really haven't. Like I really just think you should just have somebody who's on your streaming network and Netflix makes four movies with you, right? Like they do that with Adam Sandler, but that's because you can't let Adam Sandler speak in public anymore to promote his
His
comedies.
movies, yeah.
So, you know, but he still makes movies, you know, he makes his fucking Shattered Glass or whatever, Rare Gems.
Yeah.
So he doesn't make his star vehicles with those guys. But like people were just trying to be movie stars in the 80s. It was really weird. And Dan Aykroyd had, by this time, it was clear Dan Aykroyd had failed. And
Yeah, he was only good with he had to be paired up with
he
somebody who was a
needed a
little more
partner and
yeah,
and even though when Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks made Dragnet, uh, Tom Hanks was the wild man and Dan Aykroyd
yeah.
was the straight man, like that dynamic of Hanks taking that movie away from Dan Aykroyd is really what put Dan Aykroyd into the position he wouldn't accept until like
And
Sneakers.
yeah,
Like,
and he kind of got lost. You never got to know Dan Aykroyd
no, because he
as a
did too many things.
personality. He got lost in his characters. So, even with something like Trading Places, he's good in that, but he's
Yeah,
clearly playing a character.
he's
Like,
playing Arthur, right? Like,
yeah, he's a character in that.
so, and that did not help him. It worked fine for Bill Murray because, you know, secretly everybody sort of knew they didn't want to get to know Bill Murray. But like Harold Ramis at some point in this will just like sort of mug for the camera because he's like, hey, you guys like me. I'm Harold Ramis. I'm gonna direct some
Yeah,
movie, right? Like, um, so yeah, it's just a very weird time to do this sort of mega quill, especially since Sigourney Weaver, who gets third billing here, which must have been some negotiating on Dan Aykroyd's agent's part. Um, she was just coming
but
off of Aliens.
he's known for being a good guy, so I would think
That is
he didn't
true.
care. I don't
That
think he
is true.
cared, and he probably understood anyways.
But
You know,
so we will, there's going to be lots to discuss with the real Ghostbusters cartoon, which had gotten
yeah.
popular. And I double checked. Sony did tell Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis to adapt the script to fit real Ghostbusters shit. We will see what should be an uncredited cameo by Rick Moranis. Um, and we will see Peter McNichol, me hating Peter McNichol
There we go.
viscerally. Um, so,
Yeah, let's do we.
all right,
Let's do we.
starting in three, two, one. Like, so let's
The old
see.
Columbia logo.
The old Columbia logo still. And this, okay, everybody, I watched this 2 days ago for the first time in 20
Ooh.
some years. So now that was in something else, right?
Whatever it was.
Was it, it wasn't, it was it Aliens?
No.
They just
Because
say
Aliens had
57
its own
years
little,
later.
yeah, it had its own little text going at the beginning. All
But
right, here we go. Dana Barrett in New York. Pushing a stroller. Is it Peter Venkman's baby?
But also it's a very different New York. Like they're not
Yeah, it's
filming in
cartoony.
landmarks. They're
Mm-mm.
filming on like some very
Obvious.
well done street. Like this is
Yeah.
the street where you filmed shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um the music is by Mr. Randy Edelman and it is quite bad.
Wow. Yeah.
Um nope.
It's
You're
not it's not Elmer Bernstein. So
it's
yeah.
not Elmer Bernstein. And there will be you're gonna get to see he starts phoning it in at some point.
Although I
Uh,
do kind of like the bit at the end though.
well, there are moments, but
Yeah, there's
overall, it is
moments, but
not
yeah,
Elmer Bernstein.
it's not it's nothing unique to
No.
what
Randy
would be a
Edelman,
Ghostbuster.
no. Yeah.
He was a scorer for hire.
Yeah.
I think he did the music for like the Chipmunk Adventure. So
Yeah. I don't know if Randy Edelman ever had a great score. Um, oh, okay. Let me just dig out the thingy here. Oh, product placement in this one. Just
oh yeah.
buckle up. It's got more product placement than I think you've ever seen.
Yikes.
Like,
We just missed getting hit by a bus. Oh, something's afoot. Somebody get me the Ghostbusters.
okay, Randy Edelman. Jesus.
What?
Okay, so I've got this app called Call Sheet that puts shit together, like, but it also puts the age people are when they do stuff, which
Huh.
is both wild and sad. So
Yeah.
between the age of 71 and 72, Randy Edelman did the score for Backdraft 2,
Ugh.
Max 2, The Boy
Oh, look who
Next
we have
Door.
here.
Yep.
It's Mary Ellen Trainer again.
We are going to run it. You know, somebody should just do a podcast about Mary Ellen Trainer should just do a podcast, but as a bit or something.
Um,
She can't be
well,
that funny because she's married to Zemeckis. But
but
like,
she's unable to do that now.
is Mary Ellen Trainer dead?
Mary Ellen Trainer is gone from us. Yes,
God damn it. Okay.
it
We're
took
off
me by
to
surprise too.
a great start, everyone.
Oh, and we just saw Max. No,
That's not Max
Kid Reitman.
Landis.
No,
Okay.
not Max Landis, but Kid Reitman.
Okay.
Joseph Reitman. Ah, yeah. Oh,
The director?
yeah.
Okay.
He's the kid who goes and tells them his dad says they're full of crap.
Yeah. I'm pretty
And
sure.
we also have Ernie Hudson here
Yeah.
early in the movie.
What sucks about this is this sets up Winston as being around. Then he's not.
Yeah,
And
they
then when
just
he comes back,
gone.
he's just around to dump exposition.
Yeah.
Like at some point during this movie, and it's not even necessarily bad. This movie doesn't get bad until the third act. But at some point in the second act, it just becomes an episode of Real Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But the other
Because that
problem though is we're
cartoon in
stuck with
itself,
this.
though, yeah, the cartoon was well written for the time. You
Yeah.
know, like there's some episodes that are like, "Damn, this is for kids." Necronomicon and shit.
Right.
But there we go.
Yep. So here we start getting some Harold Ramis.
You could tell he wrote all of
Oh
this
yeah.
Egon stuff.
And he's got a lot more personality, but he's also sexless. Like he's sort of like a Spocky
Right.
character in this.
Despite the fact that we're told he secretly had a whole family going behind all of this, which yeah, I don't buy it for a second. It
Is that in the new
well,
one? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So Randy Edelman, yes, he did the Chipmunk Adventure. He broke his he cut his teeth doing the score on MacGyver.
Wow.
But then yes, Twins was his breakout at 40. He very quickly sort of did a bunch of shit, did VI Warchowski, kept working with Ivan Reitman. I would
he's
say
the he's the affordable goldsmith is what.
this does sound like Poltergeist Goldsmith very often. So yes, he is. He did Dragon the Bruce Lee story, which has a good theme and pretty much everything else is generic.
Right.
He is one of the two composers on Last of the Mohicans, which is de facto his best work. Um, Other than that, like he did the music for Anaconda. He did the music for Ed TV. Um, Black Knight with Martin Lawrence, National Security. Like,
Oh, that's another Reitman there.
oh, is it? Okay. So, so now another thing, if I'm paying close enough attention, folks, I will probably shit on the some of the photography. I think that's the reshoots. I think Ghostbusters 2 had such bad reshoots, not even Michael Chapman could make it happen because this all looks good. It's not Laszlo Kovacs. This
No.
one's directed either very much for video or not at all. But if we look at the framings on this one knows that it's going to be pan and scanned. Okay.
Here we have Venkman.
Here we have
He's
Venkman as a talk show
with
host. Didn't
the
somebody
always
call?
irate Kevin Dunn.
Yeah. Didn't somebody refer to him as a talk show host in the first one? Didn't?
Right in the first one, he was what's her face says you act like a game show host.
Yeah. Okay. So, yes, he took off 1985, did one scene in Little Shop, took off. So that was 86, took off 87, did Scrooged, this, and then he did Quick Change, What About Bob, Groundhog Day, Mad Dog
Oh,
and
see, yeah,
Glory.
there's the golden age of Murray
Yeah,
right there.
sort of culminating with Ed Wood, which was his first sort of breakout. Like showing like the thing about Bill Murray is Bill Murray wanted that recognition and he was willing to work with a lot of people to get it. Like
Yeah.
until Wes Anderson unlocked it and then oh
Who
girl
did? Oh yeah, Sophia
Sophia
Coppola.
Coppola sort of
Who
figured
did
it out.
Broken Flowers?
Broken
Because
Flowers was
that was the
fucking
only one I liked of all of those.
was Jim Jarmusch. Yeah, he did his
Oh, see,
Jarmusch.
there
And
you go, right
then
there.
but yeah, and then he just started. Then he did shit like Zombieland, right? He did the shit he said he'd never do.
Oh, it's because the fan base was we worship Bill Murray, so that's what
Yes,
sort of
basically, it just took until people grew into beloving Bill Murray enough that he decided to deign us with the sellout. Chloe Webb in one of her kind of last big moments here
right
in
because then she
Chloe
was
Webb's career.
specifically TV after a certain point. The goofy face.
Where is she? Chloe Webb. Oh man, damn, that's what Queen's Logic was the end of Chloe Webb.
That was the one. So many people were in it too. right?
Yeah, but that was the end of Chloe Webb as a leading lady.
Uh, well, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
They did try with her though.
they did.
Like she was in a lot for a certain amount of time. There was a point where you there was a movie you didn't see her in it. And this guy,
Oh yeah, fucking Kurt Fuller. So Kurt Fuller right now is on Evil, that show with Mike Coulter and Katja
oh,
Herbers and Asif Mandev. Um, he's really fucking good on that. Like that show kind of sucks, but it's also like it gives its actors interesting shit to do, and that
mm.
helps make up for it.
Now for a time he was just kind of this guy
Yeah,
though.
for years he was this guy. Like I bet he played that guy in a fucking Jim Carrey movie. And here now we have Peter
Peter
McNichol,
McNichol.
who I have always hated from this. Um, it's really like because he's a creep,
He's a
and
creep, but he's just like he's from the page of Mannequin, where he's not
right,
just a creep, but he's a creep. He's a creep with a shitty accent.
yeah, like
You don't want to be near him. Get this some bitch away from me.
yeah, and like we're a little bit late. Like Mannequin was a little bit late to be doing comedy like that, right? And so
Right.
now we're in this, and it's just that recycled, and it's just like, dude,
And it's at such a like he has a lot to do in this.
yeah,
Like he even has scenes to himself, and it's just
yeah. There's like
that guy in
no,
Mannequin didn't get any of this. But
no,
and Sigourney Weaver once again rebuffing another creep in her life.
yep. Now, Sigourney Weaver is basically going to have a romance plot with Bill Murray, and it is incredibly
It's
unremarkable.
yeah,
But remarkable is some of the CGI in this, like some of this very early CGI. Now, people didn't start trying too hard on CGI until I'm just going to
after
say it.
Jurassic Park.
Well, that, but they were still kind of chill. Remember, like,
Hmm.
there was this infamous article, or not infamous, but there was this like they CGI'd some stuff in Die Hard 3. They CGI'd the cave
Oh,
and Forever.
right.
Like they were using CGI to, make their
Enhance certain
sound
things.
stages. Yeah, and enhance. Yeah.
So I remember they made a big deal about the end of Die Hard 2. See, that's not a real airplane, and those aren't real people.
Yeah. And then there was the helicopter from American President, and we were just starting to see it really functionally used. And then what happened was is Harry Potter came out and it looked like shit and nobody cared. And they were like, "Oh, it doesn't actually have to be good. We don't need to listen to these people who told us it has to look good.
Well,
Let's
then
make
there was
Shrek."
remember Spider-Man though when that first came out and everybody was like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 1's really bad. Spider-Man, yeah, that's true. Spider-Man's pretty bad too. But like something like Men in
oh."
Black was a good example because it made it cartoony.
Yeah, Men in Black was kind of cartoony,
Yeah.
so they gave that the excuse that you could do it like that. But then, what 2002, they dropped Scooby Doo, and it still looks like shit.
Yeah. Okay. This chick has the most thankless part in the movie.
Yeah, because she's this is her only scene, right?
This is her only scene.
All right, here we go. Old friends back together.
Now, we hadn't really been paying attention, but basically she said, "Don't tell Peter." They both said,
Sure
"We
enough.
promise not to tell Peter." And then they tell Peter in a cartoonish scene. except now Bill Murray is your divorced or newly widowed uncle who's trying too hard to be nice to everybody because he's like lonely. And Bill Murray's a talk show host. This is from the universe where Bill Murray just became a talk show host. And Harold Ramis is delighted to be in a movie that costs this much money.
Here we go. Here's why we love Bill Murray. He's clowning around, doing his Bill Murray thing.
But this would be sort of toward the end of Bill Murray doing this particular bit.
Right. He
Like,
wasn't. Yeah. After a while, he wasn't Hepcat Bill Murray. He wasn't the Bill Murray that Val Kilmer was trying to be in Real Genius.
right. Okay. So the acting career of Harold Ramis. After this, he was in Baby Boom. He
Well,
was
the thing about
in
him, he I don't think he really minded being Harold
no.
Ramis. You know,
Well, also, I don't it's not clear. It doesn't look like he was that interested in being a movie star either.
right? No, he
And
just seemed
like
like
he seemed like he
he was
just wanted
because
to
he's
have fun. Like,
right because he seems the most comfortable
mhm,
on screen, and it doesn't usually because when he's in a movie, it doesn't really hinge on him. Like he's not a Jeff Daniels where he'll be the Jeff Daniels will be the lead in certain shit, and Harold Ramis was just all right, just doing this, just
yeah,
supporting. Weren't we in the movie theater with him one time?
yeah. And we were in a movie theater with him one time, and I'm 99.99% sure that my wife and I once saw him in a restaurant in like Highland Park. Yeah. But like I was like too cool to do it. Like just to be like,
Mm,
it's you, man. It's Harold Ramis.
right? Okay, so here's a little give and take with
Oh yeah, the baby stuff.
Hickman and the baby.
We need to contextualize the baby. So what was the first movie with Three Men and a Baby was
Right.
87. And that was
Mm-hmm.
a giant hit. And the part of the gag was it was unexpected people interacting with babies doing cute and dangerous things. So it was like basically just levels of baby Huey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like just people realized babies were cute in about 1986. Like everybody could agree a fucking baby was cute, right? Like so they
Yeah.
made a bunch of baby movies for 4 years. They
And they
made
convinced everybody that those little Olsen twins.
right. And that like sort of led into the sort of show kid culture of the
Yeah.
90s. Like
Yeah.
it turned
The
into a
tots.
theater thing. Yeah.
The
But then
tots.
you didn't have this in the 70s like this, right? Like
No. Because in the
so
70s it was smart mouth, like
right.
pre-adolescent 8-year olds
It
maybe.
was basically the Bart Simpson, right?
Yeah,
Like
Gary
that's part of
Coleman.
the thing is you have a Bart Simpson, Gary Coleman type.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I mean that's basically on a range too, right? Like people can say whatever they want, but Arnold wasn't Bart, right? Like
No, Arnold was in the beginning. Arnold was very streetwise. Like
yeah,
he could talk to people, adults on a certain level, and they didn't get it. But as the show went on, as him and Willis kind of became more adjusted to their environment,
yeah,
all that shit was out the window. Because if you took Arnold from season one and put him in an episode with the bicycle man, he would know something was up. like
right.
in 2 seconds.
Okay, we are starting to see the problems with the photography, actually. Because for some reason, I always remember this scene as being like a really big deal.
Mm.
Like, I remember a giant crane shot.
Well, I think honestly, because I really believe there was a difference between the released cut and then the cut they did for video. Because there are certain scenes I can recall actually happening when I saw it in the theaters, and then when it was on video, it wasn't there anymore.
Right.
So there are probably shots, little snippets of dialogue, probably, but this movie was heavily edited anyway.
Yeah, they were editing this very close to release. Let me see.
And
But like,
the
look at
comic
look.
adaptation was obviously taken from an earlier draft
Like,
because
I
Oscar figures a lot into it.
well, this also sort of reveals that there aren't any scenes like this in um the first movie. Just them fucking around like this.
Yeah. And this is another where this goes wrong is that they have to start from square one again. They're not still,
Right. And then they follow the exact same pattern for the second half, and it just doesn't
yeah,
play right. Like, it's not cute. And I'm someone who thinks that Star Trek Into Darkness is perfectly fine with its con cuteness. Like, but this is not cute. So that's
no.
Max Van Sydow doing the voice,
Yeah, here's our big bad of the movie. A painting, folks. The ghost inside of a painting.
played by a stuntman and
It's one of the Die Hard guys.
one of the Die Hard guys, and voiced by Max Van Sydow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Production.
A child. Oh, there we go. Big special effects. Trailer
Eh,
shot.
yeah, that was a big trailer shot.
So yeah, in the comic book adaptation, they go into slightly deeper detail why specifically it has to be Oscar. And
Oh, okay.
something about tattoos forming on his body or something.
Okay.
There's a lot of that I think was filmed, but just they got rid of it. The River of Slime.
The River of Slime, which I remember being such a big deal. And it's so this is another thing. We see this kind of thing all the time now. It's a normal
Yeah.
part of something you see. So like it doesn't stand out. But at the time this stood out,
Yeah, this
though
is like, whoa.
I think it might also more be the Batman Returns opening credits. Okay, so
Oh, they're caught.
okay. Filming concluded March 7, 1989.
Mm. Yeah, they didn't have no time to.
Okay, so that was filming. It came out in June. They changed 25 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Like this movie
Yeah, this
was,
was hacked.
yeah.
Whoa.
And so you're also at this weird point where you are using CGI, you're using early CGI, probably with some more traditional mats and things. But as a result, you're using like, the movie looks different than the first one just in terms of film
Yeah,
stock.
it's got a fresher look.
Yeah. And that the non-fresh look covers a lot, right? Like
Yeah,
hashtag
like the
Superman
colors.
3, hashtag Supergirl to some extent.
And they do a lot
So
with
no.
color in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's not just the style of 89, it's just
Yeah. Right.
like look how the
Well,
hallway is all red. And
this seems like it should be a bigger deal. This whole
yeah.
fucking scene here, and it's just nothing.
Well,
And
it's
I'm
the
like,
hallway's red. And then the stinger is, when he turns around and
yeah. But I just mean the seeming
yeah.
stalking from Janosch.
Yeah, he should be a little creepier.
They made
Or
this, yeah,
now
they
that he's
wrote
got the
this.
yeah, now that he's got possessed, he should be a little more menacing than
Well, right. And it's just,
he's still acting like before he even
yeah,
got zapped.
this
All
is
right,
the
here we go.
thing of villain like bit parts. Yeah, this.
Ooh, his eyes glow.
Just like they live. Somebody had some leftover they live effects. Um, mm, fucking poor Harris Yulin.
He's great in Training Day. That whole scene with him and Tom Berenger and those guys.
He's
Oh,
underappreciated, but he also like does
he's kind
have
of a
bad string sometimes.
he's more of a prestige John Vernon.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Janet Margolin, who was a New York actress. So
Hmm.
this movie is full of cameos and stunt
Mm-hmm.
casts, and none of them make any sense or make any difference. The only one that matters is the Bobby Brown one because he does a
Right.
song, but
Of the
otherwise,
time.
we
Yeah.
just have all these fucking guys and they're these recognizable actors, and it's just like, hey, all these people in our movie. Like,
And Rick Moranis here. Lewis.
okay, so here's some of that fucking bad photography. It looks like a sitcom. Like it looks we're what are we watching a fucking Perry
Yeah,
Mason
it's
TV
very
movie?
it's very flatly set
Yeah.
up.
And the wipes are weird because we aren't going to have the wipes again. I don't think. I think it's just for this. Also, Ernie Hudson disappeared. Here we've got corrupt
He's in
Chicago
there.
cop number two. Yeah, Ernie Hudson is
Ernie,
here, but he doesn't get to participate in the
right.
fight
And yeah, the
or
fight or any of that,
the
which is
next
weird.
investigation. He disappears, and when he comes back, his hair is slightly different. And his character's like just an exposition dumper, too. Like,
You know, according to the cartoon, Winston's the driver.
what?
Yes, that's how he was described in the series Bible. Winston is the driver of Ecto 1. Yeah, that's his role in the Ghostbusters. Crazy, right?
Oh, God.
Hey, is that a young Terrence Howard?
Okay, so Rick Moranis is in it for this scene, and like,
Yeah,
he,
he pops in and out. His role was bigger
okay,
because there were scenes cut out later on where he's attempting to catch Slimer in there's one in particular that they cut like
okay.
completely out. Like
So,
his whole thing was him and Slimer.
okay, another weird thing. Um, in the first movie, Lewis thought he was cool. In
Yeah, and
this
here he's
movie, he's
just a
just a
dork.
nerd. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's kind of shitty, but also like,
it is kind of weird that he just kind of
yeah,
regressed,
they're lucky they got him to come back. Like,
and he should have actually come back as like a stud.
yeah,
Would it, you know,
or something. He could have
because
come
he would have
back
been
married to he and Janine could have been married or
either that
whatever.
or he just would have been like this weird gigolo type. He's still dorky,
Right.
but
Well,
like
because the thing
he would have came
is
with a
that,
bimbo in his arms.
yeah, because this is his post dog life.
Right.
But
He would have gotten famous, and he
yeah.
would have just totally rode that into the
And
ground.
this is something this doesn't address is there's sort of 5 years later, everybody has decided ghosts weren't that big of a deal back in the day. And so we get this. We get Harris Yulin yelling at the Ghostbusters because they're a bunch of hacks while there's a wind
Yeah,
inside and slime bubbling and different film stock between the cuts, which is a good sign. Um,
yeah. This is pre and post.
yeah.
Well, oh no,
Okay.
there we go.
And here we go with we don't have
Let's go, Harry,
model
brother. It looks stupid,
and
and of
you
course, they look like they're from the cartoon.
right.
And that's another thing we don't get as far as this goes. Who gets to come back as a humanoid ghost, and who comes back as a monster?
Right. And also we don't ever get a good explanation of the connection of the ghost to the slime. Even we
Not
don't
really.
because why are the Scoleri brothers? We also don't know what happened to the containment unit. That's
Nope.
not part of it. It's
But
so
it does,
weird.
with the fact that they have the Ecto one and they still have like the party thing going.
Right.
It's
Ooh.
assumed that they still have the firehouse and all that shit. But
And they are, but we will later find out they are under court in or this is the scene. They were under
yeah,
injunction not to ghost bust.
right.
And so that or even to like investigate the supernatural. So now the judge just lifted that order, and so the real Ghostbusters are back. Notice that Winston isn't there.
Right.
And so this is shit where what we're getting is they're trying to appeal to the TV viewer kids,
Yeah, because
but
kids just, dude, we ate this up back then. The real
right,
Ghostbusters.
the real Ghostbusters was a big hit. And so
I
what
had the figures, the car. Man,
it's it's a very weird thing is this is a TV adaptation of a spin-off to a movie starring the original cast made by the original principals. Like
mm,
that's a very weird thing. So I guess you could argue that in some ways that's also Return of the Jedi.
yeah. See, like, you're right. Where the fuck is Winston? They could have.
Like, why aren't we even cutting to him?
Shit, Lewis is in there.
Right. Lewis got added to the real Ghostbusters after this, apparently.
Yeah, he did. Like, there's episode. Well, again, he kind of became foil to Slimer, who at this
Okay.
point was very, very like important in a cartoon. Slimer could be what you say the '80s equivalent to what Scrappy Doo was to Scooby Doo.
Okay.
They just focused on his character a little more. He even went from like not talking, doing the gibberish talk that
Oh,
he used
that's
to do
right.
to
He talks.
yeah, into just being completely articulate by last season.
Okay. So we just missed some
There we
really
go.
bland.
Maybe fast and maybe slow. And that's the clip you see on Siskel and Ebert.
Look at
Ghostbusters 2 was an atrocious sequel. There we go. Annie Potts looking
yep,
like the cartoon Janine, and Ernie Hudson is back.
yep. And
But
we get
the
our first
cartoon was
original
so,
song.
yeah, the cartoon was super like clever because they did a whole episode on why Janine looks different, and it really works.
So here in our montage, what I think what we're getting is we're getting the different plots being cut together. So this was the most this had effects, so that was probably what they first tried. And then
See, it's
slime
the first movie again.
collection. Yeah.
They won't leave us alone. Are you going to call Ghostbusters? This part is good. I like the
Yeah.
montage. It's just unnecessary because okay, this
Well,
right here is cut from a cut scene
okay.
where Ray was possessed by Vigo. There's a part where he gets
Oh
possessed
yeah,
by
there
Vigo.
which we'll see pieces of and it very clearly goes nowhere and is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting some costume changes for the
What?
boys.
What? There we go. Hey, here's what everybody came to see.
Slimer's back, everybody.
It's Slimer. See, now that turns into a whole subplot where
Okay.
Lewis is trying to catch him, and oh, and Dana's just
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver making it believable she thinks they're cute is
right.
that was
Oh,
it.
those
After
guys.
that, she was like, I can't outdo that scene. That was it. That was the peak. Okay, let's try to think of something where there's a lab scene that doesn't have any inherent drama to it that's good. I feel like we're experts now after the Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
And the Hulks. I bet the Hulk had a lot of lab scenes that went nowhere, but this is not good drama and it's not good comedy.
Well, again, this is you have to simplify it for the kids. That
Okay, yes, and that is kind of
that's
what this
who's
movie
hitting.
is. It's
Yeah,
exposition dumps, like
right.
repeated exposition dumps.
You have to explain it for the kids, or they just won't get it. And I just thought, what if they did Ernie Hudson really bad and just recast him with Arsenio? Since since Arsenio was
Um,
doing the voice on the cartoon
oh my
anyways,
god.
that would have been so bad.
No, because no, they would have brought him back. They would have brought in Arsenio as Winston's cousin.
Cousin.
Winston does not appear,
No.
and his name is something like Winston. And so they basically call him like they don't have to learn a new name for Arsenio. Because I
Walter.
mean,
Walter
Walter,
Zipper.
Walter Zephyr.
But you know what was even more messed up? Ernie Hudson was doing voices, right? For
Mhm.
cartoons. He did Cyborg. So he auditioned for Ghostbusters and they didn't hire him for whatever reason. Oh
Okay, so the stuff was a thing at this point too. Stuff was
yeah.
85 and it was like a lengthy video hit
Which
or
also
like
starred SNL alum Garrett Morris.
um check out the stuff. Stuff's
The
better
stuff
than
is good.
Ghostbusters too.
It was one of
Um
those what Larry Cohen movies,
Larry
right?
Cohen movies, yeah. So
I might do a double feature, the stuff and Return to Salem's Lot.
oh shit. Ambulance. Do the ambulance.
Oh shit, that's
Fucking
right. I've
good
been meaning
one.
to watch
Hell
that.
yeah. Hell yeah. Eric Roberts in a fucking
Eric
lead
Roberts.
as a Marvel Comics artist.
I
Okay.
just I skimmed through Star 80 the other night. I
Oh
couldn't
damn. I
watch the whole
can't.
thing, but
I can't. I
yeah,
gotta.
he's good in that. But
No.
it's
I
yeah,
one needs to when one looks into the abyss, the abyss looks into you. Like I don't even know how you prepare for Star 80.
yeah. That you really have to be in
That's
the
like the
right
fucking
mind to.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre of the soul, man. All right.
Yeah.
So
Oh, the handshake here.
yeah.
I love this shit. This is Bill Murray, folks.
Oh God. But it's Bill
Oh, we
Murray in
missed the
it,
shot
which
where they
when
walk
he's
in,
leering
suck
at
in the
her,
guts,
yeah.
suck in the guts with the Ghostbusters, where Ernie Hudson for 15 years was cut out of the shot.
Well, I was gonna say that there's look at this. Like Peter McNichol gets cut out of the shot. Like
Yeah,
they do that, they have
you can
the
only hear him.
same. What's weird about it is it's like they seem to know that they're gonna have to pan and scan it,
Yeah,
but
because look at that right there.
look at
There's a lot of
that.
space in that
Yeah.
shot.
So Reitman is framing for much less aggressive pan and scanning, which is that better or worse than just I don't know.
Mm.
Like this is a weird phenomenon of the late 80s and sort of to the mid
Well,
90s
they didn't
with
bank on people being aspect ratio minded, you know,
no,
which is
no,
why on TV they just even on DVDs they'll use the framing from TV for a lot of DVDs, which they did for years. Which is why they separated them for a while. Remember,
yeah,
there was widescreen and what formatted to fit your screen.
pan and scan, baby. But
And
they did
scan.
they stop calling it pan and scan? I can't remember if they
No, I don't
because
think so.
I once had to explain to somebody what pan and scan was, but it was like in 2007,
Uh,
and they were like, "Well, I didn't really watch a lot of stuff on at home before DVD," and I'm like, "You know that it filled your screen, right?"
right.
And they're just like, "What?" And I'm like, But this was my okay. This was not in the script, or this was not in the plan. Sigourney doing
Oh, this action
bra
sequence.
at 38. No,
Yeah.
the action sequence was there, but bra at 38 or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
wasn't. Um, that plays less like female empowerment than when you know the story behind Caddyshack and these guys and Cindy Thomas or whatever
Right.
it is. Um, though there is a funny story about Sigourney Weaver's underwear scene in Alien. I won't get into it, but apparently, since CGI didn't exist and she refused to do things, somebody in the UK made a fortune having to hand paint um,
Oh.
stuff out of the scene. Okay, so now we get more with the goop. The goop really doesn't go anywhere. The
Oh.
slime bit of it, like the show was big on slime, so they're like, we need slime.
Yeah, it has to
Teenage
be
Mutant
slime in
Ninja
it.
Turtles did the same thing. They were
Yeah.
like, they need to have slime. So the second one was The
Ooh.
Secret of the Ooze. That's interesting to think of those two franchises as being a thing at the same time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Real
Well,
Ghostbusters.
Turtles came out when a lot of things was on the way out,
Yeah.
to the point where late in the run of Ghostbusters, they do an episode where there's like a parody of Ninja Turtles,
Okay.
and
Turtles was also syndicated, which
it was syndicated, yeah, and Saturdays.
weird ass thing about animation in the 80s was there were the show Saturday morning cartoons were on networks and like
Yeah.
CBS didn't have any or something. I
So
remember that.
CBS for the longest time ran they had a they had a good lineup. Like Muppet Babies was kind of the center of their lineup for years,
Yeah.
and it was the big competition to Smurfs. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I remember.
But then but CBS sort of started getting out of that, right?
Yeah,
Like
by 93 was the year NBC and CBS like had cut. Well, CBS for a while they tried to do preschool shit,
okay.
and that just didn't work. And then NBC said, you know, fuck cartoons. We're just gonna play stuff that's aimed towards like older kids,
Mhm.
tweens. So that's where you got the whole Saved by the Bell and
Oh
Hang Time
yeah,
and
right.
California Dreams and all that shit.
Okay.
And then
So
ABC, of course, was run by Disney, so they still kind of they hung in there because they still had the rights to Looney Tunes, which still kind of got ratings, along with Disney cartoons. But yeah, it- Ghostbusters was one of the shows. It ran on Saturdays. Plus, you got them during the week, you know, on syndication.
that's the other yeah, that's the other thing about cartoons. You, they ran you had so many episodes, they syndicated the shit out of those.
Yeah.
Um we just did this weird little fade out, much like the swipes that will never be a bit
Oh,
again.
here we go. Here comes the shot. Poor Ernie Hudson was Thanos snapped out.
Okay. Also, this is a Christmas movie, and they forget that. It's like the worst
Well, no,
Christmas movie ever.
it's after Christmas.
No, it's between Christmas
It's
and
New
New
Year's,
Year's. But there
right?
should be Christmas. No, it ends on New Year's, but it
See,
like
there we
starts
go.
just before Christmas. Wow.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
shit. They made him stand a little bit further over
Be
so
a
it
little
would
bit further
drop
over because
easy. Ooh, look at that lighting. Oh my goodness. Michael Chapman, sir, what happened with this?
but the one thing
Why?
I gotta give it credit for, like I said with the first one, they despite maybe seeing the style of the cars and stuff, you wouldn't notice that this both of them either take place that far apart or that they even really take place in the 80s. They could probably
Yeah. The only reason the first one really has a like time factor is because it's got that sort of still left over from the 70s sort of
yeah, that kind of
tone.
mhm.
Yeah. Where it's like
All
we
right, now
started getting rid of it. This is where Ray gets possessed and has a whole
right,
adventure and they cut it.
right. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, it's very obvious.
There's a whole allegedly they kept it in for the Disney Channel, which again, I there's no
Right.
proof of that, much like the legendary Disney cut of Goonies. Okay, we got McNichol back there, a little whatever the hell he's doing.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Like, well, he's not even doing the Donald Pleasance because he's like standing motionless.
Right,
So
he's just
they
with
can
his
cut
hands in his
around
face,
him. Like, so this is Peter Venkman's apartment
which is the apartment of every dude who doesn't make any money whatsoever in the
in New
80s.
York City in the 80s.
Yeah,
It's currently would cost $14 million. Like,
exactly. Yep. Yeah, they're getting a lot out of barely dressed Sigourney here,
they are. Um, I let's see. Was she?
she's really not wearing anything under
Nope,
there.
nope,
What the
nope,
fuck? What?
no.
How did she not have some nightmare stories about that?
Okay, so she's 39 to 40 years old in this one. Basically, either she had just had her kid or she was about to have her kid.
Hmm,
And so she was doing empowered sexy mom thing.
hmm.
However, she's going to take some time off here and then come back with Alien 3, which was an infamous bomb, 1492, which nobody liked. And then starting in 93, she was basically completely, I don't even know how to describe her career trajectory. She like no longer was going for prestige lead performances or even necessarily prestige
Well,
co-starring
with
performances.
her thing was, yeah, she was the cerebral actress, so
Yeah.
she wasn't, and they already had what Meg Ryan, and she wasn't gonna be a Meg Ryan or a Sally Field. So
Yeah, I guess that would be the comparison would be Sally Field. That was basically her choice. Was be
yeah,
Sally Field or be like I don't know, probably what Annie Potts should have been if the world made sense.
right.
Um but it's just like there were only so many types even somebody like Sigourney Weaver could play in movies. Like it
And she proved dudes would go see her, but she had to be playing Ripley.
Yep.
So, and I'm
Like,
sure that's what kind of soured her on that shit.
yep. And then shit, I forgot she was in The Village, which was the M. Night movie that turned people on M. Night finally.
That piece of shit.
She was
I took
in
a
The
girl to
Ice
see that.
Storm.
Oh god, that was a date movie.
Oh my
Fuck
god. The Ice
the village.
Storm was good. Um, but that was where like Joan Allen. See, Sigourney Weaver wasn't even Joan Allen. Basically, Joan
Joan
Allen
Allen.
became Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver. Um, but
for a minute,
then
and then
yeah,
she kind of
then
tapped
she
out.
was out too because she just like I don't know. I read an interview she did when she was doing Death Race, and she seemed
Oh god,
yeah.
that's where I was like, what the fuck
She
is Joan Allen doing in
she was
Death Race?
like she wanted to do something different and have a great bit of like a
But
great reel.
she just this year got topped on that because Susan Sarandon was the big bad
Oh,
in
that's
Blue Beetle.
right. That's right. Oh,
She
and
looked good doing it, but
Sigourney Weaver came back for the girl power version of Ghostbusters.
yeah, that
Oh,
was just a bit. Even at the like tail end of the
that's
credits, I think. Yeah, very at the very end.
okay. So she is in Avatar. She's in the Avatar movies. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
But she also was in the Defenders. She was the
yeah,
big
she was the
bad
villain in that.
on the
Yeah,
Defenders, and she was terrible.
and I'm gonna add a little bit to the Avatar thing where they bring her back in the second movie, and she's supposedly like a teenage version of the character she played. Only now she's one of the creatures, right?
Okay.
It's a teenage version, but they have her do the voice of the character. I guess she performed it too.
Uh-huh.
The thing
Ernie's
is,
hair is different. Look at Ernie's hair.
right? He's got the S curl. Um, in Avatar 2,
Yeah.
they make no attempt to change her voice. She still has this 50 something, 60 something year old Sigourney Weaver voice on this character that's supposed to be a child. And they
Dude.
they in no way enhance it,
Dude.
you know, so it doesn't
No.
sound.
I I don't understand. People do not seem to want to acknowledge that voices change over time and it takes you out. Okay, so if you're doing a movie where,
Like, it would have
okay,
been no problem if she did the voice.
but you just do a little bit, right? Like
Right. And
you do a little bit.
but it doesn't sound like the like 14, 15-year old she's supposed to be.
This is a this is a scene of the cartoon.
Oh yeah. This definitely would have been one of those scenes in a cartoon that like parents groups, their heads on stakes. Because they really would have did that on the cartoon. Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters cartoon pushed a lot visually because kids got nightmares from that cartoon. The only difference is in the cartoon, Slimer would be with him. Slimer, get back here.
But this is obviously on a soundstage. Like it's
Oh yeah. That's why it's dark all around him.
yeah. Harold Ramis isn't in that shot. Like Ernie Hudson's agent is like, fuck yeah, Ernie, I got you. I got you in the home video. I did not get you in that shot though. That is a Harold Ramis shot. Jesus Christ, it is. Oh my God.
You only see Ernie's shoulder.
Yep.
Whoa!
But then he gets this shit.
Trailer shot.
Yep.
Eh, right.
Oh,
That train is haunted. Just 1940s shit.
well, here's the thing. This isn't Ernie Hudson. Like, this isn't something Ernie Hudson would be good at. Ernie Hudson's not a comedian. Like,
Well, and
it's there's
that's why they were shitty to the character Winston, because in this it could have been any
yeah,
black dude. And at this point, Winston was a major character to kids from the cartoon.
yeah. Like the cartoon didn't treat Winston like this.
No.
But I mean, at this point, they all sort of become interchangeable and stop having personality. Like,
Well, that's what they said too. I saw like a documentary of the cartoon,
mm,
and because the network mandated a lot of shit, like they were intending to write Ray's character out, and which is funny because they said Dan Aykroyd was probably the only one in the cast that watched the show regularly, and since Slimer had taken center stage, they said, "Well, the cast is too big. We have to write out at least Ray."
uh-huh,
And since everybody gets along with Slimer, what's the point of having the one guy who was always nice to him? So
wow.
luckily they kept him, but it's just they made a lot of changes at this point on the cartoon.
Okay,
Uh,
so okay,
hmm.
is there a good Bill Murray romance?
And these two are good, I
They were
think.
good
It's
in the
just
first one, and they're cute with the kid together, but this is painful.
yeah. But the thing of it is, it's all about any good Bill Murray with a female in on film. She has to see through his bullshit. She can't just be some chick that just falls for him. And that's what Sigourney Weaver is good at. Like even their
Yeah.
bit in Afterlife is good
Okay.
because she's on to him, and that's how their thing works.
Are they ghosts?
No, they do a skit during the end credits.
Okay.
It's a callback to the card thing. Only this time
Oh, okay.
she's shocking him,
Okay.
kind of like
Oh, they put that
right,
in there because
yeah,
they were like, we don't hate women. We're getting Bill Murray back for being a piece of shit in 1984. Look at this.
exactly. All 30
Hashtag
some years later.
feminism.
So this bit here with Janine and Lewis
Okay.
came about because Harold Ramis didn't like that Janine and Egon had a thing, or kind of didn't,
What? Like
even though
seriously?
yeah, it was weird. Like he just did not like the thing between Janine and Egon. So this is why the continuity between these movies and Afterlife is really screwy.
Is she the mom in Afterlife?
They don't explain it. They
Okay.
Egon's adult daughter just doesn't have a mother or the mother died at some point.
Okay, this is another sequence I remember as having like some point. Instead, it's going to be them yelling at each other for a second. And
Oh
this
yeah, then they
is,
realized that
yeah,
even though this is something they should know anyways.
yep. Like that would have been okay. So it's already over. Here, everybody. Don't worry, kids. They're not really mad at each other. And look, if we just take off a little bit of our clothes,
Yeah,
it's going to be
ignore that
okay.
we're completely covered on our faces and
Mhm.
look where it's at.
Ernie Hudson's like, sorry, Dan Aykroyd. I just for a second I realized what fucking part you wrote me, and I was just like, man, fuck you.
Like, come in,
Fuck
Ray
you.
JJ Long Johns.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, get out of here. Aren't they celebrities though?
Yes. And everybody would know who both those people are. And now you gotta think Winston's not in that shot, and neither is oh no, they're not. Very clearly
Oh,
they were cutting Winston and Sigourney Weaver out of the shot.
Sigourney Weaver out that shot.
Yep.
Yep.
Right there. Look at that.
No,
Wow.
they'd have to pan over for her line. Uh-oh.
But no, but
What
you
do I
can
hear? What do I hear? In the soundtrack? Let's creep it up on the soundtrack. Uh-oh.
oh,
Oh, oh. The hit of 1989 that wasn't Bat Dance. A big cameo is coming up.
mhm. Okay. So was there a scene where they tell
Oh shit.
these guys? Did Bobby Brown really like
Ghostbusters.
the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, well, dude was coked out of his mind when he was fucking doing the song. Even he admitted he was like so high. He was a fan of Ghostbusters, but it wasn't
Okay.
like, you know, that was around the time he was just on top of the world. Just
Yeah.
Bobby Brown was eh. It was like big that he was in this,
Yeah.
just for that 5 seconds.
We were getting to
The
the
hair.
yeah. Well, okay, let's like there's also the thing where somebody should acknowledge that Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis fucked so hard they became dogs. Like they became
Well, they
lizard
said the
dogs.
reason the reason for his hair here is because he didn't get to be possessed in this, so he wanted possessed hair.
Okay.
Yeah, but Moranis at this point, yeah, he had a big summer '89.
Yeah.
Between this, it was Honey I Shrunk the Kids that really.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Parenthood. He was everywhere.
Oh yeah, Parenthood.
That was actually the Moranis summer, if you think about it. Like there was never another
Holy
one.
yeah, that's right. He was from '89 to I think maybe '91. He had a really good run.
Yep. And then his wife passed
It's,
away pretty
yeah,
soon after
he even
that.
had a he even had a cartoon. Uh, Rick Moranis at Gravedale High. Yeah, he was on a roll. Oh, here
Okay.
they are with the mayor again.
Yeah. So here's the deal with this. They asked to see the mayor and they get to go see the mayor instead of getting arrested. They're all the slime that they were covered in, the concentrated evil, has dried and dissipated.
Yeah. Now they're kind of normalized.
Yeah, so they have no evidence of this, yet they still got to see the mayor. And now we're getting this weird sort of subplot, which started a second ago, but really is going to be the thing of about how much New Yorkers hate New York and each other,
Oh
which
yeah.
was a
You
thing,
guys got to be a little nicer to each other out there
yeah,
in New York.
in New York. Like, here, just listen to the dude here.
Oh yeah, it's every New Yorker's right. Uh, like how could he be this dismissive to the Ghostbusters after?
So, what we get hinted at here is that they were sued out of existence, basically, and then probably to get out of the financial liability,
Oh yeah,
promised
they
to
promised not to.
pretend that they wouldn't promise they wouldn't ghost bust or acknowledge the real existence of the supernatural.
Uh, and here's Bill Murray's brother, Brian Doyle Murray.
Yep. And this is where Eugene Levy was going to come in as um,
Oh, Lewis's cousin.
Lewis's cousin was going to work there. But instead, we get this boring ass shit. So the only way this works is if one or the other of these or both are great. They both suck. Like,
It's also because you don't get much of Vigo
no,
at
Vigo's
all.
a terrible
And
villain. He's a
he's a really
pointless
bad
villain.
villain. Like nothing really comes to. Even if he possessed Oscar, it's like he's got to grow up.
Right. And that's the thing is Vigo seems completely unaware, uninterested in the fact that he could unleash a ghost army from his river of slime.
Like this is definitely something they would have wrapped up in the half hour on a cartoon.
Oh,
He's just not big enough. It's
yeah,
nothing.
it's nothing.
There's no real threat here, even though they're
Here,
talking about it's the end of the world.
here's the thing. They're not going to kill a fucking baby. So
No,
nobody's getting
not at all.
killed in Ghostbusters 2.
That's what we
Like,
had Pet Cemetery for.
right. Like nobody's there aren't stakes like that. So you have to do like a Fast and the Furious. You have to make the stakes in the, immediacy of the action, right?
Yeah.
And that's not what they even do here. They get kind of close here and then it just like fizzles again. Oh, we had a kid in this fucking movie?
Don't look at the camera, baby. Dun dun dun.
Mhm. See, I think that is kind of the thing is a real sequel to Ghostbusters 1984 would be PG-13.
Yeah.
And this can't be PG-13. Like, think about how fucking wild it is. We've got a baby out on a fucking
On a
ledge.
ledge.
Like in the year of our Lord 1989. Like,
Yeah, this is pretty like what the hell?
no, it's
Like if you
funny. It's funny. It should be like The Flash. It's funny. Babies in
now this
danger are funny.
Well, at least it's not a badly rendered CGI
There you
baby
go. And
with the
then
rubber neck inside of a microwave.
we get this.
Yeah, this never got explained.
Nope. Except that it gave us another ghost.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's the real problem is that people were expected ghosts because of the cartoon.
right. There
Except
had to
the
be.
Ghostbusters guys weren't interested in ghosts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
his
only have
hair
those
is
really
completely different.
quick sequences with the ghosts in this
Yeah.
movie.
Like the longest one is with the brothers in some ways.
Right. And
And
then we're
that's
gonna get the the bit that's coming up here where the slime is sort of bringing shit back.
oh yeah, but that's a montage. We are headed
Right.
into so this is where the show basically starts mimicking the first one's sort of theme. We're going to
Right.
get a montage here um, that Vigos is completely unaware of. There is no shot of the Emperor laughing at
Right.
Luke.
With his
Vigo
arms
seems
raised.
completely unaware that the New Yorkers are all going wild.
Or maybe this is his, I don't know, how he gets stronger or something. They'd never explain it.
They never explain it.
It just has something to do with slime.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
ooh, slime. So basically, this movie is Prince of
And
Darkness. This came
this
out
came out
after Prince of
after the
Darkness
Blob
and
2.
after The Blob. Like,
Yeah.
we'd done this before. Like, this wasn't like the next level in slime.
Uh-uh.
It was just,
And remember the Blob in the Blob remake. The Blob had personality.
right.
The Blob was
This is,
savage in the remake.
we're about to just have
Shit.
nothing here, except Sigourney having slightly different hair than in the last scene.
Yeah.
Hashtag retakes. All right. It would be terrible if instead of taking place on a dynamic location like a rooftop, we are going to take
Yeah.
place in an empty room with
Yeah, museum
stained
set.
glass window. Yeah, like it's like the background of a fighting game. It's so empty.
Yeah.
That's
It looks
Metropolis
like
Museum in Injustice. Like,
a round of fight.
okay,
And
that's the
they kick
worst
you in another
editing
room.
I've ever seen. Just that thing where you pull away from you cut from the baby getting pulled away to Sigourney getting locked up without establishing where the baby's headed.
Yeah.
That's some fucking Eugene Levy and Andrea
Oh,
Martin.
Eugene Levy,
That's kind
Andrew
of funny.
Martin.
Um that's some fucking what's it called level shit. Last Action
Oh, here we
Hero
go.
level shit. Okay, so now we get
Yeah.
some real ghosts. And we get another music montage.
Oh, this was so stupid right here.
Mhm.
The fucking-
Do you think if Gremlins 2 had come out before Ghostbusters 2, it would have had a chance, a better chance? Do you
Probably.
think
If they
people
came out
saw
closer
this
together.
and were like, wait a second, Ghostbusters 2, like that should have been, this should have been in the first 15 minutes of a movie called Ghostbusters 2.
Right. They should have been still out there doing their thing.
Well, no,
Maybe,
the
I don't know. If
ghosts
they
needed to come back. We needed to. we needed to address the word, like
I
the
just
location. They reset like the logic of
uh,
the universe too.
Cheech.
Yep.
I just think Vigo should have been a bigger threat.
Some kind of threat. And then this shot,
Some type of yeah,
I was pretty sure that shot was going to have the lights come out, but I bet they didn't have time to do it. We got a Philip
yeah.
Baker Hall
Philip Baker
cameo.
Hall,
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein, not playing Ben Stein. He's actually
Nope.
got
Ben Stein is a piece of shit, so it's incredibly problematic he was friends with somebody to get on this.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he was in a lot too. He
he
showed up, just
was.
shows up in a lot.
And then, like, he was just around, and then somebody was like, wait, is he going to be a piece of shit? And they were like, oh, yeah, I'm a piece of shit.
Mm,
When Obama got elected, they were like, "Oh no, I'm
yeah.
yeah, no, you should have listened. I was fucking Nixon's speechwriter. Like, what piece of
Oh,
shit, man." Okay, so
so here Kurt
this,
Fuller gets found out.
yeah,
He's
get out
off to
of
go
here.
play.
What's his name? James Spader. No, what's his name? Uh,
What in
Richards. You get out of here,
Richard?
Mister
Yeah.
Richards.
Oh, here we go again.
Yep.
Turning
I
daytime into
assume
night.
that better have been a trailer shot
That's that's a
for
that's a
that.
that's that's a whatchamacallit trick. That's a Gozer trick right there.
Well, no,
Here you
it
go,
also has
stealing from Gozer.
nothing. Yeah.
Why do I keep thinking they used their updated uniforms for the last part of the movie?
Because it would have made sense.
Yeah.
Because it would have made sense. That's why.
It really would have sucked that they used the ones from the cartoon, though. After they went through all the trouble on the cartoon to explain why they don't have the jumpsuits
Mm.
from the movie. I hate Jello.
Oh, good. Let's get to our exciting. Um,
Yeah, we're just waiting till midnight.
just gonna fucking talk to each other.
Yeesh.
Who could they've even gotten for that? There's like, I'm trying to think.
For Janosch,
Yeah.
don't think they didn't try to beg Robin Williams at the time, because that's the only person I could have. Robin Williams and then maybe Jim Carrey audition, and they were like, "No, dude, you're too much."
What about Bronson Pinchot? It's just Bronson
Bronson
Pinchot.
Pinchot, probably knowing him at the time because he was Balky, he probably asked for too much money. Because remember, he was arrogant as shit. Like
That really worked out for him in the long run.
when he was Perfect Strangers. That was just he was on top of the world for however long that show was on. I'm surprised he didn't demand to be on Family Matters too, because that was the spinoff. Instead, he ended up on the other show. He ended up on Step by Step, but he wasn't playing Balky. He had replaced Sasha Mitchell.
Damn.
Yeah, who
Um,
was
they don't
yeah the
try
star of that show.
they don't try crossing the beams.
Nah, because that was only crucial to getting rid of Gozer.
No, they need to try crossing the beams and have it not working before they try something else. Like there needed to be a slime monster. They needed to get to the end of the
Yeah,
level.
exactly. A big
In
slime
the
ghost.
That was the good thing about the first one and how it did this. They didn't know how to do this ending. So they just kept having build up action, build up action. This
Uh,
one, they don't like have that. So 90 minutes later,
all that trouble
oh,
Superman went through just to get the Statue of Liberty back.
plus
This is what the
minus
Ghostbusters do.
plus minus they had to get all that gear. So this is like three
Yeah,
hours later.
right? Like it's past midnight.
This is
Gozers done took over the world.
yeah. They break in, nothing. It's just fucking
Yeah, they don't stop anything at all.
just an incredibly awkward sex scene for Sigourney Weaver. And is that an A team reference?
Nah. Although he looks very Hannibal-ish with that cigar in his mouth.
So
Uh, hey kids, Nintendo. Oh wow. Here we go.
I hope this just doesn't turn into a sequence where it's very obviously a person on some sort of a matte shot. That would be
Oh,
awkward to sit through
again,
in
this is
this
some shit
real
that they
movie.
would have done in the cartoon, and it only works kind of within that.
This is the like best case for some of Batman Forever is that it was written by a couple who had written the cartoon. And so like that's your best case is that it would have made for cuz like to visualize it it just doesn't work
And
right.
the water just doesn't seep in and wash away most of
Nope.
that slime
Nope.
that
That's
they
not
put
how
in the
slime
statue.
works. The slime it's good slime. It's positively charged. That's actually not Spangler's uniform from
It wouldn't fit them.
that's no,
It would
because
be so
what it
baggy
is,
on
nope. What it is when they fucked, Janine kept his uniform and she
them.
shrank it to like they just fucked him that.
So yeah, following this in the cartoon, Lewis just shows up and he's a prominent character.
Is he a Ghostbuster? Like, does he Ghostbust?
Eh, every now and his figure
Okay.
is suited up, but he does very little ghost busting on the cartoon. Which begs the question, if you could bring Lewis on, how did they not all the characters were on the cartoon with the exception of Dana,
Right.
and they do make reference to this in the cartoon. They mentioned Vigo the Carpathian several times.
I don't
Uh,
I don't think this like what it's a pep rally. Ghostbusters 2. Get your pep on. Like, Jesus.
yeah, how did they know Ghostbusters were
That's
going to
not
be?
that's not the song of New York City. Like,
How did they know that the Ghostbusters were going to be marching down with inside the Statue of Liberty?
Also, why aren't there ghosts fucking up all the shit right now?
Yeah.
Like on the way. Oh, wait, there will be one ghost.
Oh, look. Wait a minute. What? Hey, Cyber.
Okay, so in the 4 hours that have passed, um,
Yeah, it just kind of lingered around.
yeah, we
Dana's just
don't
being creeped out.
we don't that is the creepy shit. It's
Yeah,
like Ted Levine. Um,
that.
okay, notice what we're not getting in this Star Trek 5 hurrying job. We don't get a good shot of the blob leaving the museum. Like
No. Uh-oh. Smash.
all of the fucking like care of the first movie and its effects are gone. It's so wild.
Because that does look bad. That
Yeah.
part. Hey, but this is cool. Happy New Year. Get rid of him. Uh, uh,
We've established those are the positively charged ions, right? Or do we have to hear that
uh-huh.
again? The positively charged ions should have had a great sequence to set that up.
There's
Like,
really a lot in those tanks too, if they used
yeah.
them to like
And
fill up
if
the
you could
statue.
do that, why didn't you try affecting the river of slime with the positively charged, like to reintroduce it? And that
Uh,
would have done it too. That would have been a good effects sequence.
uh-oh.
It's not usually windy inside. Ivan Reitman's been watching his hentai or whatever. Oh wow, yeah, this is Randy Edelman action scene Q2. I'm sorry, the Ghostbuster logo on their uniforms has a 2 on it.
Yeah, even though in the universe there's never a reason for it. Like
Okay, okay.
unless even they're acknowledging this is the second coming, but
That could have been a thing that they had to incorporate with a different name. That would have been like a
right.
funny scene. They could have had a good cameo in it.
This just makes me wish they had created Ron Alexander back then. It would have been perfect, but for between the movies to have his shitty Ghostbusters compete or try to take out Vigo first. That would have been the best
Yep.
Ghostbusters too. And an excuse for him to have Chevy in it. So uh, he looks like a Highlander villain.
Yep. Be another 17 years before composite shots didn't look like fucking cartoons.
Yeah, because you couldn't paralyze Venkman's mouth.
Right? They needed somebody to play Vigo. Like,
They should have just got Max Vance, anyways. He would have been more imposing, at least,
yeah.
using his voice. He's tall enough. I mean,
Because you can't take Vigo seriously like as a villain, right? Because you never see him
no,
like talk in a real sense. Like,
there's nothing threatening about him whatsoever.
no,
Like,
he's a cosplay. He's at a Ren fair.
yeah, he's a Dungeons and Dragons villain.
Yeah. Oh God, that's right. He becomes Pigman.
Oh, look at the
Okay, so
statue.
we also missed the shot of the statue falling and not hurting anyone, which is
This is
good,
this is how New York became Escape from New York, New York.
right? It directly leads into Escape from New York. Isaac Hayes
Right.
fucking
The
kills the
dude just
mayor.
takes over.
Yeah, he kills the fucking mayor or something. Kurt Fuller, like, owes Isaac Hayes money and
Right.
something, and like, he gives up the mayor. Yeah.
Right. He
Okay,
tells the mayor's corrupt or some shit. The mayor's
so
racist. You gotta believe it, Duke.
okay, so here we get Pigman. Here we get another reminder of the scene with Ray that also goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, because they just dispatch him. It's almost like the movies, like, dude, we gotta keep this going. We gotta wrap this up. Yeah. I don't think there was ever a possessed Ray figure made. The Go, go, go. Uh, right. Ghostbusters the painting.
So it's funny.
Mhm.
You had two big head villains in 89. You had this and you
Mm.
had Star Trek 5.
Oh yeah, God.
You don't, big head villains, nobody likes a big head villain.
Well, remember, God wasn't intended to be that.
No, but
They had
yeah,
to settle for that.
I'm sure they didn't intend Vigo to be that fucking boring.
Probably not.
Oh God, is it over? It's over. Oh,
He
okay.
was probably intended to be more demonic, but again,
Oh, are we watching
we got to do
Ghostbusters
this for the
2?
kids. Because Ghostbusters 3 was supposed to be a departure from all of this. It was supposed to be the Ghostbusters go to hell.
Oh, is that what that is? I did a search for Ghostbusters somewhere and I saw that there's like some script by
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, there was Ghostbusters Hellbound, and then it was like
Okay.
initially, I guess it was Ghostbusters Go to Hell, and then it was
Did they,
Ghostbusters Hellbound.
did they ever adapt that into a comic? I love those.
I don't think so.
The
They should have.
there's actually some that are almost good. What's one that's actually almost good? Oh, RoboCop. That fucking RoboCop. I love that RoboCop one. The RoboCop 3.
Which one?
Last Stand, I think it's called.
Oh,
I like that
I remember
one.
there was one. Marvel had one back in the
Yeah.
day. I never
Marvel.
read that one though.
So I read all those. Some of those, there's a good run in there. This is really fucking dumb. What does that
Yeah.
mean? That's because of Little Three Men and a Baby.
Yep.
That's okay. Who gets cut? Uh, here.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Rick Moranis and Ernie.
or did they?
See, look,
Okay,
some people are putting up the two sign, so it's like, wait a minute, what?
now we get this weird thing, which is just these outtakes from scenes that
Yeah.
we would have rather been watching, I think is what they're going for.
Oh, watch who gets a credit though.
Oh, yeah. And look how long it takes to get to Ernie Hudson again. Okay. Rick Moranis gets a whole fucking comedy beat.
Yeah, a bit. Look at that.
Like, look at this shit.
Hey, and we've got the
I'll be back
Bobby
for the
Brown
next
playing.
sequel. They didn't even do them putting it in containment, did they?
I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, so Kurt
Hey,
Fuller is just supposed to be the William Atherton of this movie. That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
problem.
exactly.
All of their nemesis, Janet Margolin, are William Atherton types.
Well, yeah, which is why they put him back in the comic book.
And Slimer
Slimer.
in a circular thing for some reason.
Well, that was from the cut scene. Uh, what you
Okay.
call him? Lewis was supposed to have one of those visors on, looking for him, and he,
Oh,
you know,
okay. Why is there all the dancing? Was this intentional?
outtakes.
Okay. So we also are going to reveal here that they get the statue back, which is important because it's got
But
to be there.
that there was a whole sequence that was cut
Oh,
where they get the key to the city and all that shit. There was a whole ceremony, and Slimer, like the first movie, was supposed to fly out and go into the camera. Some people claim that actually happened when they saw it,
mm,
which I don't believe that shit. Now we once again have a sampling of the soundtrack, which wasn't bad. I mean, for '89,
right.
they got a they got Bobby Brown, they got Run DMC. This is Dougie Fresh. There's a song from I think Elton John on the soundtrack.
It's
This
like,
was back when soundtracks were hot.
yeah, it's like 6 minutes of credits. Soundtracks available on what was it? RCA Columbia.
RCA
Well, we got
or
to check.
MCA, I think this one
Is
was,
it
or RCA.
RCA? We'll have to see. Because yeah, usually it was because of um
There's a lot of record mates are on this.
yeah,
New Edition
conglomerates.
has a song on here.
It was like it was a way of doing like a you couldn't release you couldn't sell singles. Like they never turned singles into like a thing really. It was just even for how little it probably cost to make things at bulk. Singles were a thing at this era. Like you remember the cassette singles, but they never took
Oh
off the
yeah,
way they wanted. And so
no,
what you got on the soundtrack album though was you got all those singles in one place.
here we go. The other Bobby Brown song. We're back.
And I mean, this is the year of Batman too. Let's not forget. This
Yeah,
is the year that
Batman legitimized
right.
these type of soundtracks. Before this, I think the only like potpourri soundtrack that really did it was Fast Times.
Oh yeah. Um this was ILM. Woof. Like
Well, they were
not
all
a
over the place this
yeah,
summer.
not a good
Like,
summer for ILM. The summer of 89 was not a good summer because they saved all the good shit for Indiana Jones, didn't they?
yeah,
Yeah, they did.
and I think what Back to the Future, because Back to the Future 2 was
They were
it
working
came out
on
in
that.
'89, but I don't think it came out the summer of
No, it didn't
'89.
come out the summer. Um because they also did they do Star Trek or did somebody else have to do Star Trek?
There was a problem, right?
Yeah.
Because it was rushed, and
Yeah, because they were
I remember,
doing Indiana Jones, I think.
yeah, I was reading that they had a particular effects house do it, and then they didn't like what they
Huh.
did, so
Plus 200 other artists and technicians at ILM.
yeah. Oh, here we go. Run DMC's Ghostbusters, which nobody ever uses. On our own, Bobby
Mhm.
Brown.
Oh, blend fry for white
Lauren
people.
Fry. Jackie Will yeah, Jackie Wilson, higher and
Yeah.
higher. Howard
Howard
Huntsberry.
Huntsberry, Dougie
Spirit,
Fresh,
Dougie Fresh,
Oingo
Oingo
Boingo
Boingo. We're back. Bobby Brown.
for B Brown Productions, MCA Records. So it was an MCA joint. Yep. No CD
Okay,
yet.
no. I like this bit though, here. This bit of Randy Ottoman,
Yeah.
even though it's not very Ghostbusters
No,
centric,
it's just,
but
yeah.
it's any kind of action movie, I
Yeah.
guess,
It's
music,
any pretty,
any adventure picture.
yeah. Like it's the chill theme with some, yeah.
Let's see. Mary Ellen Trainor,
Mary Ellen
Brownstone
Trainer,
Mother.
Jason Reitman,
Jason Reitman, there
Daddy
you go.
got him is a SAG card. Dave Florick,
Catherine Reitman.
Richard Forneggy. Who's that one guy? Cheech,
Beach.
Brian Doyle Murphy, Ben Stein, Philip Baker Hall.
Oh,
Oh, he doesn't have a name, so his name could very well be Sydney. Danny ALO3 did some stunts here. Um,
Sven Thorson,
Sven.
Arnold
Oh
boy.
shit, Sven.
It's
LaFours. It's
LaFours.
LaFours. Oh man.
See, I like this.
Yeah, it's just fine. I don't dislike Randy Edelman. I just don't think
It didn't match
he
the movie as much.
needs it needed to match the movie and it needed to be like the Elmer Bernstein music does a lot for the first one. This doesn't do as much as a
And
Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith would have done a
no,
better job.
it would have been more prominent in the movie. Like you
Yeah,
remember Bernstein's theme. Here, it's just kind of a.
yeah. It's not even there.
No, it just exists because you need a score, I guess.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe Bernstein was booked. Like
Yeah, I guess.
troubled production. I mean, troubled production. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I always enjoyed Ghostbusters 2, even when people were sort of shitting on it. It just it might not have been as good as the first one, but I'd watch that again over Afterlife.
I mean, it's
And
so this is kind of the era of this sort of just fine, bad movie in a different way. Like blockbusters still had some spectacle to them and they had like a sense of scale. So, like
yeah.
the event picture, you know,
Yeah, this was a tent pole back then.
yeah,
So
tentpoles could be lackluster and
and
still,
I remember seeing it like the day it dropped at the went to the old orchard,
oh yeah.
the old one, the big one.
Was that one of the last
Packed
things they
house
had
too.
there? No, they
No, they went out in the what, late 90s?
90s, late 90s.
The last movie I saw
So
there
that
was
was
first X-Men, I think.
so yeah. So like Ghostbusters 2 would have been the height of that
Yeah.
place, especially that summer. Yeah.
Remember the old orchard? They went all out though. Because
Mhm.
I remember when Return of the Jedi came there, they had all this shit in the lobby cards and the stand-ups and shit.
If you didn't have a cell phone to look at when you were waiting in a public place, the world was a very different place. Like,
Oh yeah. I miss that theater, the old orchard.
yeah,
Man.
the new old orchard sucks.
Ugh.
The new old
They should have
orchard
never tore down.
sucks.
They should have never got rid of the old one.
They,
God.
especially since everybody wanted IMAX space eventually. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Getting rid of
I
all these
remember
old
seeing,
movie places with giant screens, it seems like you could
yeah,
put IMAX in there.
like seeing Independence Day there, and the screen was already big enough, and they had that huge auditorium. Just,
Yeah.
well,
We're
kids, you don't know nothing about that.
no multiplexes today.
But they little
And
Roach
then,
Hotel theaters.
yep, just as long as the digital projection is sharp enough.
Uh,
Whatever. I mean, in some ways,
uh.
the youth never has had to watch Ghostbusters 2 pan and scan at least. Um,
No, yeah, there's a whole generation that will never know
there's
what
a
it
whole
used to look like when it played on HBO or some shit.
there's a whole generation that wonders why the fuck isn't Ernie Hudson doing more? Why is he just standing there?
Well,
Uh,
the thing is, what sucks is that they're more familiar with the movie now than because real Ghostbusters,
yeah, there's
it was
no
on. They don't play that anymore. Like I guess you could watch it on YouTube or something, but
right, like,
there's nowhere for that old shit.
and
Nobody plays that stuff.
nobody figured out a way to make that a feature of American animation. Like the home video release, right? Like you've got
Hmm.
anime and shit, and people were eventually trained to just get season sets of anime or however the fuck they do that. Right. Like, so
Yeah,
there's a
but those
way of doing that. There's a way people do that. There are a way of fans of that like animated serialized shit do that. And American shit never figured it out. Never.
no.
It's incredible. Like they
That's
just
why there's so many cartoons that are just lost.
yeah, you just
They're just gone.
didn't try to keep that audience for that thing. You didn't, I don't know what it was really like. There
Well,
was a sense of the
Nickelodeon,
new. There was a real sense of the new in the
well, that was
80s.
it. Because Cartoon Network started as kind of this, it was supposedly for just rerunning all the old shit. And then they
Right.
started bringing in their original shit. And they said, okay, we've got this spin-off network called Boomerang, which was specifically supposed to be for that older shit. But somewhere in the 2000s, they decided, you know what? We don't play these certain shows on Cartoon Network anymore. So let's put them on Boomerang. So now Boomerang is just kind of a cast off of Cartoon Network, and they don't play any classic shows hardly, unless it's like Tom and Jerry or Flintstones, shit that they play over and over again. And it's weird.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't really, it would be hard to get new audiences for Tom and Jerry.
Eh,
You would have to be
well,
careful. You would have to start in the 60s.
and that's another problem. Like, they since the 90s, there's been this watered down version of Tom and Jerry. Like, of the hundred something episodes, you could probably only play maybe 40 of them now. So, because they
Um,
edited a lot of them.
yeah, and that
You
just
know,
brings up the whole you need to
certain
have
ones just cannot play, period.
you just
That's,
need yeah, you just need to figure out the
there's a
fucking
lot of that old school shit that's been eliminated.
yeah.
They don't play Popeye like they used to, or
You need
Betty Boop.
that what do you call it for the I don't know. You have the fucking scholar class or some shit. I don't know
Yeah.
to unlock it, but it's basically an age slash content thing.
Yeah.
And you just have fucking, I mean, the thing is, nobody wants to say what's in it. And maybe you need to say what's in it so people can decide whether or not they want to, but anyway, or if you want to go that route. But with like real Ghostbusters, that
Yeah.
brand didn't survive. Like there was
It was
no,
yeah, it was around for as long as Ghostbusters was kind of popular at the time. It,
but I mean, how long did it
it,
last
it
into the 90s?
well, the cartoon started in 86. I think it ended in 91, and it did have kind of a rerun cycle cuz it ran on Cartoon Express for a minute. So that was about I would say the mid to late 90s. because Cartoon Express ran until maybe 95, I think, 95, 96. And then that was the
Uh,
point where they were bringing in their original cartoons too. So,
okay, and then it came back for Fox Family Channel from 98 to 99.
right.
And so that was kind of, but yeah, I mean, so you could have a rerun thing, but it just doesn't, I don't know. It's just a weird thing with keeping shit alive. Oh, J. Michael Straczynski wrote some of it. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, they had some
Okay.
quality episodes of that show, though.
They had a lot of
Some really
fucking
good ones.
episodes. And it's one of those ones where the first season was a hit. And then they were like, you go write us a bunch of these fuckers. And they did 65 seasons, their second season, 65 episodes.
What was
And then
bad, though, of course, the turn was the switch from Lorenzo Music to Dave Coulier as Venkman.
Dave fucking Coulier.
Like that's when you know the quality of the episodes aren't going to be that great. It's when Peter Venkman talks like this, and it was all Bill Murray's fault too. Son of a bitch. He claimed, Lorenzo Music sounded too much like Garfield, I
Mm,
guess, and uh, which is ironic because he turned around and played Garfield.
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that was kind of his apology or something. But again, the voice, I don't know. Lorenzo Music as Venkman isn't necessarily it's not a Bill Murray impression, but it's more in tune with the actual character of Peter Venkman.
Right.
So it doesn't have to sound like Bill Murray.
Right. And as we've just seen, it's not like there was much of a character there between
Yeah.
movies anyway. So next time we will be
Oh yeah.
starting,
I hear the foot stumps now.
yep, on the island of the skull. We are going to do Dino De Laurentiis's King Kong and King Kong Lives. We will not be doing the extended TV cut, but we will talk about
Oh yeah.
it.
So get your popcorn ready, kids.
Yep.
Get your uh banana flavored popcorn ready.
Get, yep. Ugh.
It's gonna be a doozy with Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange and
Charles Grodin,
Charles Grodin and Linda Hamilton and
Brian
Lady
Kerwin,
Kong,
and Lady
Brian
Kong,
Kerwin and Rick Baker.
but not in the second one where King
No, not
Kong
the
and Lady
second one.
Kong get the top billing to make up for the fact that there's nobody in the fucking cast of note. Sorry, was that out loud? Okay, so that'll be next time on 709 Meridian.
Good night, y'all.